Grenada via www.hardtalkgrenada.com.
Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new national party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.
My enemies' walls are bound to crumble, and to the floor their spears will fall. I've been made and sealed with love, but time to battle, I'll fight them all. I felt the whips and remember chains, but my soul has been forged by my father's flames. Spike your fears and heal your pain, and victory will be in your name. I used to be weak, but I'm not weak no more. I found the strength of my ancestors deep down in my African core. I used to be frightened, I'm not afraid no more. The Father blessed me with the heart of a lion and a warrior. So no weapon that harm against shall not prevail. No man rise against her. No war they shall never win. Yes, I will conquer. I will conquer. Yes, I will conquer. Come on, let's conquer. Oh, I will conquer, rise up and conquer, Tell them to retreat, no surrender. I shall fight till the end of years. I was born as a Makai warrior, and the Almighty God my praise. Fire burn all Satan carry. Father loose all shackles and shield. This morning first thing as I read, King David turned Sam to the brain. Don't let your courage go down, keep it up. And if your heart reap up and stitch it up, don't let your faith them fall, pick it up. When my cup was empty, God fill it up. Don't take the devil contract, rip it up. And if you bad mind people commit it up, pass me the Congo job and let me beat it up. God and my side, me no give it so no.
Hello. Good morning again. Good morning to you, Grenada. Good morning to you, Carriacou. Good morning to you, Pretty Martinique, the rest of the Eastern Caribbean, and wherever else in the world that you're tuned into Hard Talk Grenada Limited. We are coming to you live on 97.5 City Sound right here in the city, on 91.9 and 91.5, the Release FM in Grenada out there in St. Patrick's, 89.5 CRFM, 92.9 broadcasting and beaming out of Hillsborough in Carriacou, Sister Isles Radio, and 94.9 We Noise Radio out there in Brooklyn for our listeners in the diaspora. And so we are also live on YouTube. We are coming to you live on Instagram, Facebook. We do have some people who follow us through WhatsApp. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, good morning to you. We are happy to have you join us again for another day. It's Friday. It's Friday the 13th November. Is that around the time they normally refer to as Black Friday in America? Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, when they have all the sales and everything, they're cutting prices or so. I believe so. Don't quote me if I'm wrong. I don't want you to be wrong as well, but I think Friday 13th is normally Black Friday. We are going to be speaking to you on a number of issues today. There's a lot we want to discuss surrounding and related to the COVID-19 issues. We are going to open up our lines very early today so that you can be part of the conversation. Yesterday we had with us Mr. Johnny Callis from the Youth Development Division, the Ministry of Youth, speaking to us on some of the programs that he personally has been dealing with, the ACE program, the FLY program, the REACH program, program which is held in Her Majesty's prison that try to rehabilitate and prepare some of the young offenders who were incarcerated with new skills. And he was high in praise for that program because from about 140 or so people over the last 3 to 4 years that they have dealt with through that program, there have been only about 5 or 6 from what he said who have repeated or returned to prison, but the vast majority, a good 90+% of those never returned, and so that's good, and it's a good turnaround. And then you have the Fly program, which is happening in various communities, fostering level-head youths, and a pilot one which was done up in Moncton called ACE, funded by the Caribbean Development Bank. So yesterday a lot of information went out as it relates to youth and some of the activities. That's not all. That's just some of what they do. There are several other programs like the Imani, the entrepreneurship, the Empower program, which we will be talking about as we move on. However, though, today it's a new day. You know, we are grateful. Thank God. Thank you, Father, for giving us another day. And a very wonderful day it is, though, I must say. There was a little rain in the neck of my woods this morning before I left home. But driving into St. George's, as I get closer to the city, there was less and less possibility for rain. The crowd was out there in the blue. The sun is shining. I hope it won't be as hot as we have had it earlier on September and so, but at least keep it bright. Some people may want to go to the beach. Whatever you want to do, wherever you are, you can still join us, whether you're listening to us on the radio or through one of the platforms. Let your friend, let your neighbor, let your family members know HARDTALK is on again. We are going to have lively discussion today. So if you would want to join the conversation, and I hope you will, whether you have a question, you have a comment, or you want to give something in support, or even something that we may do or say that you are not in support of, you also have that opportunity to call. All we ask is that you be respectable, that you respect other people's opinion. You may not necessarily agree with it. And so on our program, we will not tolerate any disrespect, any one character being snared, but that once you are respectable, we are going to accommodate you. It is a party program. It is a program hosted by the New National Party. But even if you are not oriented to that party and you think there's something you heard that you want to support or you want to speak against, we welcome you. You know, we want to have a conversation. We want to be factual. We want to make sure that when people listen to this program, that they get positive news, positive vibes, and that they will be better off. They will make positive choices. And despite who you support, politically, you are a Grenadian and you may be able to make a contribution. If you are celebrating today, whatever it is it a birthday, is it an anniversary, anything, we want to join in with you in celebrating. You know, yesterday was the birthday of our Honorable Prime Minister. Good morning to you, Mr. Prime Minister. Hope that you had an enjoyable day yesterday. That your day was filled with fun and laughter, happiness. And we do continue to pray for you and hope that long life and health and your ability to continue to lead would remain with you for many more years to come. So, yes, he celebrated yesterday, or it was the day for celebration for him. I shouldn't say he celebrated because I don't know if he did. I don't know if he just relaxed. Whatever he did, maybe he considered that to be celebration, but your birthday would have passed. And so we thank God that you have survived it and that you may live to see a lot more. You probably has longevity in your genes, because my understanding is that not too long ago, his mother celebrated her 98th birthday, and she's still up and about. She's still very strong. We look forward for she to be one of the other centurions in Grenada. You know, she may well century. Be that as it may, my friends, if you're going to touch the digits, it's going to be 440-7377. That is if you're calling locally. You can write that down, so when we open up the lines, you can give us a call, 440-7377. And if you're going to reach us from abroad, and it appears as though someone is trying to reach us very early. I saw some blinking lights, but maybe no, it's gone now. I don't know. Maybe I didn't see it in time. And if you're calling us from overseas, it will be 347-329-3101. 347-329-3101. That is for those in the diaspora. And locally, it's 440-7377. Or you may want to send us a message on the WhatsApp. We do accept that too, and we would, if we find the time, read it out. Or sometimes we take those messages, we take those comments, and we send it to the relevant authorities. If you're requesting that something be done or so, or some investigation happening to something that you have seen that you believe need to be known to the authorities, we do that too. So let's get the ball rolling. What is on our agenda this morning that we want to talk about? And just before I do that, let me give the people in the Springs Dixie area a reminder that today, Friday, 13th November, it's the final day on the schedule that we have been talking to you all week for fogging. And from 4 p.m. this afternoon, the people responsible for that from the Ministry of Health will be in the Springs Dixie area doing fogging from 4 p.m. this afternoon. So prepare yourself for that. Lock up your home if you think it is necessary, or probably it may be best to leave them open so that the fogging may come through and whatever mosquitoes are in there may get out. They're trying to do their best to reduce or deplete, probably totally eradicate the Aedes aegypti mosquito, which is the vector that transfers the dengue virus, and we know that dengue is around at this time in the region, not just in Grenada. We have had a couple of cases based on reports from the Ministry of Health already. We do not want it to continue. So outside of the ministry doing its part and trying to fog to reduce the population, we, all of us, have a responsibility to ensure that our surroundings, our community, our neighbors' surroundings doesn't contain any of the utensils, any of the articles that can store water. And that does not just mean a bucket or a drum. It could be a small tin. It could be a coconut shell. It could be a plastic bag. It could be your guttering around your house that may be blocked because some debris got into it. And so there's water stored there that the mosquito can lay its egg. Yes, we are going to entertain that very first caller. I don't know the reason why that person is calling. Good morning, and thank you for calling HARDTALK.
Good morning, my beautiful, handsome brother.
Good morning, Miss Jacob, and how are you this morning?
Well, I miss my sister. You can tell me where she is?
Well, she's not on island. She has been out for the last 2 weeks or so. Hopefully, she will be back with us next week. She had some personal issues that she had to deal with outside of Grenada. And I had a very short word with her this morning. She did call me, but I was already on the road, so we couldn't speak for very long. She's in good health. She's doing well, and she's looking forward to be back sometime on the weekend. And hopefully from Monday morning, if all goes well, she will be back on the radio. You'll hear her voice again, taking control of her program. As you know, she's the host for this program. And I'm just holding on.
I'm holding on good.
I'm holding on good. Okay. Yes.
And yesterday was my beautiful, handsome mommy Mitchell. She bring that wonderful sound. Oh my God. And the 1946 make that handsome Prime Minister. Me love Mitchell. Yesterday, a bigger up a kiss and make her laugh.
That was nice.
Yes, just imagine you have to big up mommy first. Mommy come first.
Yes.
Because if it wasn't for the mommy, we would not have the Prime Minister, no?
Yes.
No, you.
No mommy, no baby.
Eh?
No mommy, no baby.
You understand me? And she makes such a handsome baby. Oh my God! Yesterday I make her laugh.
Good. That
So
was
my
good.
Prime Minister, and I understand he had a wonderful day yesterday. No?
Well,
Understand he had a wonderful day.
he deserves it, huh?
Yeah, he deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
He deserves it. But let me tell you, no, he laughing at me because he gonna leave me.
No, you won't catch up with him, man. Don't worry.
I will catch up with him in July.
Our four parents used to say, don't worry, man. Where horse rich, donkey would reach. What you need is patience and perseverance, and you're going to get there, right?
Boy, that Prime Minister is a loving Prime Minister.
Of course he
Our
is.
Next one.
Yes.
The one that he loved us, he was Uncle Gary.
Yes.
Uncle Gary was a nice. And what? You see that thing they put in the botanic garden there?
Mm-hmm.
They better take it out.
Mm.
That is not Uncle Gary. No.
Well, it's just an image of him. He's not perfect.
That is self-image. No.
It's not perfect.
Not it.
It's not
They're
perfect.
making me shame.
But you know they have renamed the gardens, so Eric Matthew Gary Gardens. They don't say the botanical gardens again. They don't normally say botanical gardens again.
No.
Yes.
No.
It's honored in his name.
That picture, better they put that picture.
It's a statue, yes.
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 Take that picture. It do nice.
Okay.
It do nice. And that person that make that statue, they can design.
Well, they probably make it when he was a young boy growing up. They didn't take the macho man that he was when he was Prime Minister.
He don't himself young, he don't himself macho. Do nothing. Do come with that.
Ms. Jacob, it's so good to hear you. I wish you have a good Friday.
Hear you too.
Yes.
Have a wonderful and a blessed weekend. Everything we doing, put God first.
All the time.
God come first.
All the time.
Right?
Yes,
and
my
I'll
dear.
have a wonderful weekend. And God bless you until we hear each other Monday. In God's life.
Yes. He will be merciful enough unto us, so we should survive the weekend and see you on Monday. So you be good to take good care of yourself, continue to pray, and follow the protocols. Yes? Use your mask, do what you have to do, and stay safe.
Wash my hands.
Yes.
Anybody coming by me and drop anything, give me when they drop it, I sanitize their hand.
Very good. Very good. So you're obeying the protocols. Take good care, my dear lady, and thanks for calling.
Darling, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye. No, right. Okay. That was our good friend, Miss Jacob, always wanting to be in. Wow, it seems as though we have another. Well, I didn't say we are opening up the lines yet, but we won't refuse to speak to them. Good morning, caller. Hello?
Oh, I'm on the air?
Yes, you're live, my dear. But it's okay.
No,
you can talk with me.
I want to be off air, please.
It's difficult. Our system is set up to speak to you off air. So if you want to call me directly, you can do that after the program, or I can give you my cell number that you can send me a message if you just want to send a message.
Oh, yeah.
But I won't be able to take a call. Yeah. So if you call 534-5121, not call, but send a message. Sorry.
534.
5121.
Hold on, I missed it. 534-5121.
Yes, WhatsApp a message, and I'll try to read it while I do what I have to do.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome,
my
my
dear.
You, Mr. Bola, and I'm hosting the program HARDTALK.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Yeah. Good. So, now that we have gone through that, what we really want to discuss this morning, or what I want to open up the conversation with so that we can talk about it, is surrounding COVID-19. And the phones are on again. Jay, they're very busy this morning. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Mr. Bola.
And how are you, sir?
I'm okay.
Great.
How are you?
Very well.
Okay, yes. Mr. Bola, it seems to some people in our country that are doing good.
Mm-hmm.
And reaching and helping people to protect themselves is a crime. It's a crime. Because our duty on earth is to protect and to serve. Right?
Yes.
I have the Minister of Youth, Honorable Kate Lewis, did something where to protect the life of people. And some high people in society, because of the name they have in society, they feel they could ridicule and all kind of things. But when you look at these people, what they are doing, some of them getting cases, and they don't defend the accuser and the victim. And sometimes case put up many times. Some of them don't even go in and sit on the case. But they first have to come and try to criticize people. I want to say to people, once you know what you're doing that is good, and you do something that will reach out to help you protect yourself, don't let no one hinder you. Because good will always overcome the bad and the negative. I want to say to Sister Kate, continue doing what you're doing. Everyone who continues to do good and to help people protect themselves and give them the right information to help protect life, do it, because that is our duty on earth. On this earth. That way we are here to reach out and to love and demonstrate that love to one another. I want to say to the Prime Minister, belated body, and stay fresh as God wants you to be. And you are example to others to stay healthy. Because many times we consume a lot of food and then we just sit there and relaxing. It's important that when we eat or when we in our dating do some exercise. Do some exercise to stay healthy. And I could say the Prime Minister, he lead by example and we have to follow. So, Mr. Bola, you have a wonderful day. God bless you.
Thank you too. You have a good day, good Friday, and happy weekend. Yes. Yeah. So I was about to say that we want to talk a little bit about COVID-19. It's not a new topic. It's something that we have rehashed, we have dealt with, but yet it appears to me that there are some of us who have not yet seen or accepted, probably not seen, but accepted the seriousness of this virus, the seriousness of this disease, and what it can do negatively to humans, to countries, to economies. Maybe some of us don't have that ability or the privilege to listen to international news. A couple of months ago, during the pandemic, and we're still in the pandemic, but there was talk about a second wave, a second round of the COVID. And we do have another caller coming in. Hello, caller. Good morning. Thank you for calling HARDTALK.
Good morning, Mr. Bola.
Good morning, dear.
And how are you this morning?
I'm very well, thank you.
You're sounding so bright.
Well, maybe I am. I don't know.
Oh my God, you're blind woman telling a man that he's hey, you're telling me. Anyway, I was trying to get onto the program yesterday, but unfortunately,
you didn't.
Gave up on me.
Well, we're sorry about that.
Yes, because I was waiting for the longest while when all you were speaking.
Right.
But then the phone just go blank on me.
I'm sorry.
However, it's those type of phone you just have to charge.
Yes.
Those landlines.
Landlines, yes.
Right. But however, I wanted to join with Miss Jacob and that young man that just said happy belated birthday greetings to the Prime Minister. Mm-hmm. May the blessing of the Lord be with him constantly, as God will want him to walk the way he wants him to walk, to talk the way how he will want him to talk, and to live the way he will want him to live. And to continue doing what he's doing, the best that he knows of is helping the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Matnik, and stay safe. I know he continues to stay safe because he keeps preaching that, and we have to do likewise. Mm-hmm. And also that young man that gave such a report of young people. And I was thinking, Mr. Bola, it was in the days when I was, well, you can say alive doing things. Hey, you're telling me. Yes, we had that opportunity to be doing these things what the young people are doing now, especially in the Willis area where he spoke about.
Yes, they now have the fly program going on.
Right. So I'm living in that village.
In that area. I thought you were in Bolio,
Watch, I knock you out, you know.
I thought so. Sorry, my bad.
Every time I keep telling my children, everybody I go knock out. You always, mommy, always is knock out. How come you don't start yet? It's just something I just like to tell them. I just like to hear they laugh.
Yes.
You know. But however, I feel so proud of the young men and women in that village that is doing this program. Rather than, yes, sometimes they're on the block, but some of them are positive, some of them are not.
Negative, yes.
And I feel so happy and comfortable. I mean, I know that wouldn't last forever.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a step in the right direction to show them that even though they drop out from school and they did not make it, they still have a way forward by doing those little class, and especially when he said that he still have them doing although the social distancing, but like going out and things like that.
Yes.
Yes, interacting and things like. I mean, when I say interacting, moving with each other, they could take a little play together and a little cook up together,
Yeah.
Rather than is the RUM,
and the fighting and the quarreling
and the bullying with one another and things like that.
Yes.
Because some of them, I guess, as young as they are, they have children.
Some of them do, yes.
Yes, and so what we are thinking about the children that they are having, what will be the outcome of them in the next few years?
Mm-hmm.
So being as they take that bold step, I want to say, I don't know who listening from who not listening, but congratulations to them. I feel so good knowing my son couldn't get on
Okay.
to that program because he did most of that,
Okay.
So he wanted to be a part of it, but unfortunately. However, he's trying because he's doing the little gardening.
Okay, so you do the backyard gardening stuff and so.
Yes, and probably you might have to give him a little coaching and thing like that.
Well, you can have him call me. We can talk sometime off air.
You're right.
And whatever I can, I am most willing to do. To
But
give some
sometimes when we have to call off here, we don't normally get you all. I don't know why. Okay,
so there's a 440-1875 or 1876. That's in the office.
440-1875. I think I could. Yeah, easier for me.
Or 1876.
1875. That one is easier for me.
Right. So you have 1875 and you have 1876. They are both landlines.
Landlines.
Yes. So it might be easier. So you can call either in the mornings before 10 o'clock or after lunchtime. Yes. Sometimes I run out to go get other things done, and getting onto the program, the phone will be muted. Sometimes I just forget. It takes me hours before my phone ain't ringing, and then I remember, the phone on mute.
Oh.
So I miss a lot of calls as a result of that. Movements, moving from one place to the next. Quickly, you just don't remember that you have to unmute your phone.
But Mr. Bola, apart from that too, with some of the news that you give to us, I know you say you are factual, but all like people like you, so Mr. Andrew Donald, I try getting onto the program since in the night I put on the radio.
Yes.
So in and between my sleep, I'll hear different programs in news and things like that, and news that you mightn't even get on some of the other radio stations. You are going to get it on Mr. Donald's station.
Yes.
And, and that's so awesome, and the way how we interact with you,
Yes.
I didn't tell him that before when I talked to him this morning, but hear what I'm saying. I'm sure you might listening to me.
Because he carries this program live too.
Yes, I know that. Because right now it's his station, my radio.
Okay, great.
Yes,
great.
From after him and whatever news come on and stuff like that, little songs he'll play until you all come on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the radio is until I hear Miss that lady with the story time at times and listen a little bit, and then I might switch to Harbor Light where they have the little children Bible story.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And back onto him about 6:30 thereabout.
Okay.
Until when again. So he gives factual news and
he tries.
things like that. And and I just love listening to those who could update you on things that you need the ears to hear. You don't want no negative.
We try.
Yes.
We try our best.
So
And thank you.
Continue, and I have to tell him that personally again, even though I say it already. All you keep going on, because that's what we need in this place here, to help others. And that program with the young people, and it's not us alone, is Carriacou got the share.
Yes,
And
they are.
would you all be going to Pity Martinique also?
Yeah, well, those from Carriacou includes people from Pity Martinique, eh?
Okay, then.
Yeah, it's Carriacou and Pity Martinique. Sometimes we fail to say it, but Carriacou and Pity Martinique. Yes, they are included. Yes.
And that lady is doing such a fantastic job.
Yes, the representative there, she's trying. We are going to get her on our program sometime. She has promised, but time hasn't permitted her
I
yet.
heard her once already. I wonder if it was Sheldon.
Yes, during the time Sheldon was hosting the program, she did come on, There's a lot happening in Carriacou, and we want to talk about it. We want to let people know what's happening. So she's best placed to do.
And the thing of it, Mr. Bowler, when they were supposed to give Carriacou, well, I don't know if it's them in particular or who else, that when we wanted to do for Carriacou, it was a big no-no. But still, I like the way all you operating, because all you still bring them in. Because they are part of part of it, yeah?
They are a part, and you can't leave them out. They must get their fair share.
That's it.
Yeah, they must get their fair share.
And I appreciate what the government's still doing and will be doing and things like that. But however, you take care, Mr. Bowler. Continue, and I just pray that Miss Duncan, she could stay the next 2 weeks, that's all right. But
why not? The lady has a job to come back to.
I know. But however, I'm just joking. But before you go, I would like to say good morning to Senator Scott. I still love him, Senator Scott.
Yes. Once a senator, always a senator.
Yes, and he and Mr. Roman.
Devon Roman.
I hear him from time to time on Mr. Donald's station.
I hear him sometimes too. I listen to Andre almost every morning,
Right.
On my way to town until when I get to the Granite Tank. Sometimes when I get to the Granite Tank, he becomes a little... I can't close off.
Let us be there now and again.
Good.
Especially agriculture. So I get
with BJ and
and BJ and the next one.
From
JD.
JD, right.
Yes, and JD.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, they're so factual when they speak, and Mr. Donald on the point when he keep asking them the different questions and things. And that was so nice in the interaction of the both three of them and things like that.
Yes.
But they won't be there forever, so they have to continue helping us.
As long as we can.
As long as they can, so that thing. But Mr. Bola, while I'm here, still asking, where it have contender, I think, is the beans. Beans.
Oh, it's a beans. It's a kind of short beans.
Short beans, yes.
Yes. When I used to plant beans, and I don't plant as much vegetables like I used to before. I used to get the seeds to purchase from Renwick and Thompson.
Oh, well, they do not have in Renwick. They do not have in Farm and Garden.
Farm and Garden, yes. It used to be a brownish-looking seed.
Right, but
what I can promise you, a bitter seed. It's a bean seed too, but it's not contender. It is the what we call that short beans, boy. Lord, there's a name that they call it, and no, I wouldn't remember. But anyway, there are two kinds in it. The one I'm talking about, but you have to give it sticks, eh?
Right.
It's one that runs on stick. I have some
Kentucky.
The Kentucky beans.
Well, right. He went Grenville and he got just half pound of that. He left down here to go Grenville.
No.
Only half pound. He couldn't be.
I have some seeds that I've saved. I have it on the fridge.
Okay.
I hope they're still good. And this is the black seed one, so it flowers move. There's a brown seed one that flowers white. What I've learned from people is that the move flowers one, they said it's a bean seed, a Kentucky that originated from Africa. It is more disease resistant.
Wow.
It bears for a longer time, and things like that. I have a bit of those seeds still on the fridge. If we can make the arrangement after, like I said, you can call. I can probably give him some. I don't know how much I still have there. I haven't looked at
Okay,
it
then.
recently. But I had some on the fridge, and I can promise you a bit of it.
Well, thank you so much,
Yeah.
because Mr. Donald was saying maybe somebody will hear, and now I'm speaking about it, and look, you see the opportunity.
Yes.
So that's why it's good to talk at times.
At times.
Yes.
Not all the time, but at times.
Not all the time, but at times.
At times
when it's
good to talk.
important.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you so much. I'm listening. So have
Right.
a blessed day.
You have a good one too. Enjoy your weekend. Like I say,
And you
we'll make
too.
contact after.
Yes, you enjoy your weekend also.
So, all right,
Okay,
great.
bye-bye.
Thank you for
Okay.
calling. Yep. So there we have it, we chit-chatting, but we really want to talk a little bit still about this COVID issue. There was prediction by those scientists and medical professionals that it's quite possible they will see a second wave. And I remember that was around the time when New York City in particular was hardest hit, was the state in the U.S. that was hardest hit. They had a lot of thousands and thousands of people in that state coming down with the virus. And when it started kind of easing in New York, they reported that, yes, New York may be easing, but be prepared, there will be a second wave. And now, my friends, I am not an expert in that field, but based on what we're seeing happening around the world, we can well believe that we probably is into the second wave. So the United States now, so many other states are coming down, and heavily so too. There are days when there are up to 6,000 new cases throughout the U.S. that you're hearing. The death toll in the U.S. has gone past 250,000. It's over 250,000 people have died. Just 2 nights ago, Al Jazeera News was saying that in the UK, for example, the death toll has now passed 500. They are on a second stage of lockdown. There's talks from people in the US that pretty soon they may well see a total lockdown of the US, because it doesn't seem as though they can get into control of that virus and the way it is spreading. Italy, for example, they have now passed the 1 million number in terms of persons contracting the disease in Italy. Germany, all those places, they are growing in numbers. And even right in our backyard in the Caribbean here, places like Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, even St. Lucia as a sub-regional jurisdiction close to us. They are battling, I believe now in St. Lucia, with community spread. Guyana, only last night in the news, was saying that it is now even spreading in schools. There are over 30 students from a couple of schools, one significantly more than others, that has contracted, has tested positive, and about 8 teachers so far. And so that means for us that in Grenada, while we have so far been able to keep COVID at bay, as we say, we cannot drop our guards, and we cannot start getting careless. We have to continue to follow the protocols. And therein lies now the rationale. And some people are now saying, we now understand the reason why the government wanted to put legislation in place to deal with that. Yes, albeit that in the minds of some people, they think that some aspects of the law was a little bit draconian, was a little bit strong. That was their feeling. And maybe it could have been modified. But was there really the need? Was it because of the lack of vision or the lack of sight or inability to understand what the rest of the world was seeing and what they were saying? Did we not follow? Did we not think that we were part of this global village, and that what happens to one may well happen to the next? What touches one may touch. It's a pandemic. It's worldwide. It's going to affect almost every country. You have places like Vietnam that has been able to keep it under tight control. They had a couple of cases. They were able to control it. And so far, they have been free. They have been tight. You have places still like China, where it started in Wuhan, where they have been able to keep it under tight control. Taiwan, they have been able to keep it under tight control. Why aren't we able to do it in some other places? And I always make reference to Senator Katisha Williams when that bill or parts of the bill and the discussion was high at the parliamentary level when she mentioned the Spanish flu 100 years ago of 1920 thereabout, where there were some deaths. There were some states, even in the U.S., where people disobeyed. It was a pandemic then too, when they were asked to social distance and to do some of the things that we have been asked to do today. And they refused. They held a carnival. And after that, so many people died. We are seeing a similar thing happening today. Italy, like I said, has just passed the 1 million mark in terms of cases. But Italy is one of the places where there's great pushback, where there's always demonstration against the protocols, where people are fighting the establishment because they do not want to obey. They don't want to social distance. They don't want to wear masks. There were some U.S. states where you had that. Now, some of the restaurants that and other gaming houses that were open up, they are being told that they have to close down by 9 and 10 o'clock. No longer can they open all night long. And soon, some people believe they may be asked to be closed completely. The UK is back under lockdown. Germany is back under lockdown. So we are seeing the surge in some of the countries where the greatest resistance by the people to obey the regulations are surging. The numbers are growing. And these are countries where the health system is of a higher standard than we have in Grenada. Their capabilities financially, the human resource, the human capacity and capabilities, the financial resources are far greater than us here in Grenada. And they are struggling. In fact, in the UK, for people who are not COVID-19 positive, they are using mobile units to attend to them because the health centers and hospitals cannot accommodate anyone else. They are struggling to deal with the number of COVID patients that they have. So if you are not COVID positive, they advise you not to come to a health center, not to go to a hospital, but they have set up a system where you phone in and mobile units will be coming into your village, your community, your borough, as they call them in some of those places, or probably even to your home to administer medical attention to you because they are overwhelmed by COVID patients. Now, why am I saying all of that? And what is that? And how is that related to Grenada? Now, I want us to understand, because sometimes when we speak those things, there are a lot of experts who go on social media and start saying and quoting things you didn't say, one, and taking their own meaning, getting their own impression from what you're saying. Now, the government of this country, the health workers, the team of people who have been advising the government as to the measures they should take and the protocols that they should employ, are doing what they're doing because they have an understanding of how devastating this COVID virus can be if we ever happen to have community spread in Grenada. If our local people start contracting that virus and spread it one to the next, we can only imagine the outcome. Now, I'm saying to us that countries that are far wealthier than Grenada, that has far more facilities than Grenada, health facilities, hospitals, more beds, more space, more technocrats, more medical faculty or facility personnel. They are struggling. COVID-19 has brought the health system to a halt. It has pulled them down, not even on their knees, but flat on the posterior, on the behind. And maybe it's not a good thing to use the word backside on the radio, but it has done that to the health system. Now imagine, just imagine in our heads, if this virus begins to spread wild in Grenada, what will be our predicament? We know, because we continue to complain time and time again about how weak our health system is. We are trying to bolster it. The government has been trying, the minister has been trying, the ministry has been trying, the individuals involved, the individual nurses and doctors and orderlies and all those who are involved in the health system. Over the past months, no one can fault them for not doing their very best, for performing and operating at the highest level. Even when they think they were pressured, they gave their best. And we must commend them and congratulate them. But you know, the best way we can repay them is by following the protocols and making sure that we locals do not contract that virus and start spreading it wild so that they will be overwhelmed. That the couple of isolated rooms that we have will not be filled and having people like in some jurisdictions around the world lying in corridors and on beds in verandas, in hospital and other medical facilities because there's just not enough room. That tents have to be set up. We do not want to get to that stage, my friends. Having said that though, I want to send out a clarion call this morning to the Ministry of Health and those in authority. I am not a policymaker for the Ministry of Health. I am not a member of the COVID team of experts, doctors, and other persons who sit regularly, whether it's weekly or daily or fortnightly, and assess the situation and advise the minister and advise the cabinet as to what moves they should make. I am not part of that. But I want to say to them, if they are listening and those who are hearing can pass the word on, that judging from what has happened in the past, and especially with our case 31 and 32, that I believe a reconsideration for home quarantine should be done. I want to believe that one, we lack the ability, the resources, humanly and financially, to have proper monitoring of people who are granted the permission to home quarantine. Personally, I don't believe home quarantine is a bad thing. It eases the financial stress on the person, but it also places responsibility, personal responsibility, which each and every single one of us has for protection of ourselves, protection of our family, protection of our community, and protection of our country. But we are seeing, based on what is happening, based on what some people are doing, breaking quarantine when they are home quarantine, breaking quarantine even when they are placed in government-approved facilities. It means that we do not take the issue of personal responsibility, and I think we have a caller coming in, personal responsibility strongly and seriously enough. So as a result, I want to advocate that the ministry reconsider home quarantine and probably abolish it. Let's take that one. Good morning, caller. Thank you for calling.
My phone is giving a little problem, but I want to support you 100% on the home quarantine. From the time the first incident happened, the ministry should have ceased home quarantine. It is even more necessary to do that now.
you.
Thank you very much. And she did say that her phone is giving problems, but she wanted to join me in making that call. And while I'm making that call to the ministry and asking them to reconsider, I can't tell them what to do, but I say reconsider it for the benefit of all Grenadians, for the benefit that we do not have a repeat of what we saw happen recently. Let everyone go into an approved facility, and government and the committee and whoever does the approval based on whatever they have to look for. Everyone must go there. So we must take that off the list. That option must no longer be available. Because even when you do, based on your criteria that you use, there are still some people that say it is not being done fairly. That why did Tom get it and not Harry? Because maybe Harry did not reach all the qualifying factors. But they start to add personalities to it. Oh, because he is this or she is that. Because he's a person, or because they're associated with who. That's why they were never allowed to home quarantine. And because that person have privilege and the other. Let's get all of that off the bat by saying that opportunity is no longer available. We may well have some people who are genuine and who may well obey all of the protocols, who may apply and be approved for home quarantine, and may never even come out, may never leave the bounds of the facility. But we just cannot take that for granted. And I am sorry for those who do not agree with me, but I believe that's one of the steps that must be reconsidered, that must be taken, so that we avoid the possibility. We don't even allow the possibility for people to break it because they're home quarantined. Secondly, I see no reason why. If you sign on the dotted line saying, I am given the privilege and opportunity to home quarantine, these are the rules and regulations that I will follow, these are the do's and don'ts, and then you go ahead and break it. It shows, one, that you have absolutely no respect for authority and for those who gave you the opportunity, that you are not truthful to yourself and to people, so you cannot be trusted, that you totally ignore the fact that if you break quarantine and you start moving around like some of them did, you are exposing a whole lot of people to the possibility of contracting the virus if you have it, like we found with case 31 and 32. They probably, as we understood, came in with negative results. But that is why you are quarantined for a couple of days, so that they can take another test to verify whether you're still negative or you are now positive. So during that time, they ask you to isolate yourself from everyone else. So when you break it, it's simply because you do not respect us as Grenadians. You have no consideration for us, for our lives and our livelihood. To put us in the line of danger of catching a virus that you may be carrying. So we avoid all of those things if we say no home quarantine. But let me touch this point also. It drives home the fact, and there was a caller quite a few weeks ago when we had the first incident of the gentleman who broke quarantine, who left without authorization, who left before his result was given to him. You know, this guy who came in from Canada or somewhere. I think he was charged, eventually was brought to court and so. There was a caller, and I asked that question, and the caller said, I asked, why do you think people are so resistant to wanting to follow the protocols and wanting to do those things when we know clearly the dangers that is ahead of us? Why don't we want to wear our masks? Why don't we want to social distance? Why we want to come into the country and not quarantine for the 4 or 5 days, whatever period of time, until our test results return to say that we are negative and we are free to go? And the caller, I remembered, say, selfishness that is responsible for that. We are so self-centered. We care only about the individual, that person, and no one else. And from the time that was said on this very program here, I keep rolling this thing in my mind over and over. Is it really selfishness? Is it really because we are so selfish, we have become so selfish as human beings, that we really don't care for one another anymore? And I am coming to the point where I believe that the caller has been so right. Now you tell me, why can't we just accept responsibility? Why do we have to still behave like slaves? And some people say, well, there must be more police officers and we should bring maybe some of the SSU, some of the army men, put them around the quarantine facility. I mean, in this modern day and age, when we understand what we have to do, when we hear and we are, news is so accessible to us, we're seeing what is happening all around the world. We know what we are trying to do here in Grenada for the protection of our people. And even some of our local people jump up time and time again and calling for disbanding this and disbanding that without a thought process, without understanding the danger in what we are saying and what we are attempting to do. Then come on, as a people, we really, really need to sit and think a bit more. So I'm calling on the ministry. One, home quarantine, I think we should abolish that. It should not exist anymore. Some people who probably are good citizens or may want to obey and may want to do, may be squeezed a little hard as a result of that, but I think we should not leave that as an option anymore if we're serious about protecting our people. But I don't want to just blame or ask the ministry to do that. I want to ask us now as citizens of this land to think about what we're doing all the time, think about what we're saying, and to understand the dangers that we can be exposing ourselves to when we don't obey the protocols of ourselves. We don't want to wear a mask in public. We forget that we need to sanitize and wash our hands. We continue to say, well, there's no COVID in Grenada, so what are we worrying about? We encourage other people to break the rules. You know, we tell people things that we should not be telling them and have them thinking sideways instead of thinking straight forward. Remember that in that vehicle called life, you can't sit down in the back seat and have someone else driving you. You cannot be driven in the vehicle called life. You are the driver. You are the one in charge. You are the one to sit in the driver's seat and hold the steering in your hand. And wherever you direct it, that's where it will go. It is time we stop blaming everyone else and giving them the responsibility for our own lives. We have to take responsibility. That's a number one priority for every one of us. We want to preserve our lives. We want to progress in life. We want to grow and become better. We need to take responsibility. We have a call coming in again, Jay. Let's take that one, and then I would want to deal with some other factors. Good morning, caller. Happy to have you calling us.
Could I call back after the program to get Mr. Bola? Do ask you a question personally?
Yes, you can do that, but I will give you a different number to call outside of the studio.
Let me mark it down.
Yeah. 440-1875 or 1876.
Yeah, 1875 or 1876?
440.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome. Yeah. Because then that brings me the whole issue of personal responsibility. We were under lockdown too, like most other countries regionally and internationally was. No flights was allowed to come here. No transaction with the outside world. We were even like prisoners in our own homes. Supermarkets and shops were closed, and then they began opening up. And as the police put it, the new word was, as time went by and the situation was assessed, there were easement of some of the regulations. The shopping days became longer and more frequent until we gradually started coming back into some state of normalcy. So supermarkets are now open. Schools were closed for many a months. They started going in, day out. Then the ministry gave the all clear, the Ministry of Health, and so the Ministry of Education still left it optional to the principal and staff, saying, look, If you think you can manage having everyone come back in, the full population of your school, if the spacing is okay, if you have enough staffing, they provided even greater assistance, so you have hand sanitizers and people who are cleaning on the desks and sanitizing, trying to maintain what we need to in order to keep COVID at its distance. All of that has been happening slowly, gradually. Construction work started back and so. But there were certain things that changed when we came back, when places started opening, when business started to revive itself. Remember when the buses were allowed to run? They started with 4 or 5 passengers. Then it was increased to 10. They are now able to carry the full capacity as they have been insured to do. But there are conditionalities to it. The driver, the conductor, the passengers must all wear their masks. School is back. The full population can go in the school, but they must wear their masks. There must be hand sanitizing. People must wash regular. The buses must be cleaned down after every trip. Whether you use the sanitizing liquid or you use some bleach and water in a cloth and wipe the seats and the places where people would frequently touch in the bus, so that if there's any contamination, it would not be transmitted one to the other. The business places was asked to carry out certain protocols as well. So you step into some business and they may ask you your name, or they may hand you a book and say, you need to write your name down. You need to put in the time you enter the business, and you need to give your address and a contact number. These are some of the protocols that are being put in place for you to continue to operate. And it was very painful to hear the chief medical officer saying that one of the establishments that the 31 and 32 patients attended did not have that protocol in place. There's a caller coming in. Yeah, let's take this one. Good morning, caller. Thank you for calling the program.
Good morning, Mr. Bola. How are you doing?
I'm very well this morning, thanks.
You're looking good there, man.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm happy to hear that I'm looking good.
Yeah, Mr. Bola, when it comes to the COVID situation, there's something there's an observation I must report on. You know, when the 25th case was announced and what had happened, the police was charging people for wearing their mask, and they were more vigilant. But I find, based on the amount of comments that I've been hearing, is that they have relaxed. People passing right in front of them without their mask, and the buses and the drivers and conductors stop wearing their masks again, and some of them, and people are on the buses again without wearing their masks again, and you're hearing the cry again that people are not adherent to the protocol. And I find that, you see, that is where breakdown in laws does happen. When you start off with something, and then 2 weeks after, you just, you lay back. You're done in a laid back situation. So people start doing what they want again. I mean, God forbid that what happened with these last 2 people, that there's anything come up. I wish that everybody's negative, that was, that are in the quarantine, and everybody's negative. But God forbid that something should happen, and we have to start looking at, where it comes from. People like to be treated like children, so treat them like children. If they're complaining about the cost of the charges for the wearing the mask, they're complaining about it, yet they would not wear the mask. I find the charge is too low, and some people maybe feel that they could pay that money because they don't have to pay it right away. So they could pay that money, and then they can walk free. But I find that the police, they lapse in, and I have to say that they lapse in. They need to be more vigilant. And I find also that the people are supposed to be looking at the inspector is supposed to be looking at the places that are supposed to follow the protocols. That restaurant that did not have their protocol adhere to that protocol, that should not have happened. Because if they are out there checking on these things, then these people cannot get away. They cannot get away. So the authorities need to look into that. Yes, the people have to adhere and have to do what they're supposed to do. But as we hear in Grenadians, some Grenadians like massa on the back. If massa not there, then they would not adhere. And they are the ones that complaining the most about, how much money, how much they have to pay, and which country is paying this and which country paying that. They're talking about the countries that are paying $500 and $10,000 and whatever, and $1,000, $1,000 for the way mask. But they're talking about the $350 they have to pay. So, Mr. Bola, I find that the people are lapsing. They've gone back to laid back position because we don't have the virus. But that doesn't because there are no community spread or whatever. But they need to keep on doing what they're doing because they are paid for that, and they need to get to do what they're supposed to be doing. Mr. Bola, you enjoy the rest of the beautiful rainy day.
Thank you, my dear. You have a happy day yourself and a very, very pleasant weekend. We thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
And thank you for calling the program. And the caller is making a point of observation. We have another caller already coming in. Good morning. Thank you for calling HARDTALK.
Yes, good morning, Brother Bola.
Good morning.
How are you? Are you singing as you're laughing, you're smiling too?
Well, I want to keep a smile on my face.
but keep a smiling if you saw me, please.
Okay, I'm trying my best.
That at least will drive the stress away.
I am not stressed at the moment. I am just a little annoyed with sometimes the way we behave, but not stressed. I'm telling you, I'm not stressed. Just a little annoyed.
Because let me tell you something, Brother Bola. Sometimes I feel the same way.
Yes.
When I look at our people out here,
yes,
just believe that they could just do their own thing. And I mean, nobody must tell them anything. Nobody must advise them as to what to do. As my own man, as my own woman.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what really, really bothers me. So I really want to support that last fellow. As he relates to, a little law and order.
Mm-hmm.
I believe sometimes there is laws later on the books. We tend to go for it hot, and after a couple of months we just go back to our old selves.
Yes.
I will just go back a bit as it relates to the noise fully. I always have to talk about that because it's something I hear people speak about from time to time, especially the elderly folks. But I shouldn't say especially, because there's a lot of middle-aged and young people talk about this noise that is happening. Up to yesterday, I was in a conversation with a young man, and there was this bike. I don't know for whatever reason, they have a way of doing it and just race up the bike, and any hour of the night, Bola, this is happening.
And there's something in the muffler in those bikes called a silencer. Sometimes they remove it. When you remove it, it makes a really loud.
Well, it's not just riding normally. I talk about.
You just stop and rev it up, and it makes a really, really. I know what you're talking about.
You know what the guy answered to me? He said, but, and sometimes they do the right when they come into the police station. I mean. We would admit that the officers out here, I support them 100%. I believe that they are really trying. They always try to do their best. But I mean, sometimes they give up too much to us. Some of us, our main objective is to test the police. Is to do stupidness for the police to tell me something so at least I could tell him something. You know what I mean? I believe, but the officers out there, you have the majority of our support. You just have to do what you have to do. And I'm speaking on behalf of the voiceless people, the elderly people that are afraid to call the program, the people that don't have a phone to call.
Well, maybe I agree with you for those who don't have a phone to call, but no one should be afraid to call this program. Everyone will be given an opportunity, and if you are not going along the lines that we believe you should with respectability, we can't tell you what to see. We give people freedom to talk.
Of course.
Yeah, but so no one should be afraid. Anyone of any orientation.
Yes, I support that. But I can remember a couple of years ago, when the buses was stripped of the music.
Yes.
They couldn't. But now everybody gone back to things. The cars and the autos have competition. They will park in front of your gap.
Mm-hmm.
And like they're having a DJ among themselves. No, brother, why we have to accept this stupidness? Why they feel they could come up in the country and just do this stupidness and get over with it? No, brother, we have to be better than that.
Yep.
And that is one of my main concerns, apart from what I'm seeing with the COVID thing. So I'm calling on the authority. I'm begging the authority to please look at this Noise Pollution Act and do something for us as citizens, especially elder people, because it's not nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's not nice, especially when you're even close to the road. The people can't sleep. These are the people we boast about that make contribution when they were small. Why we treating them that way now? Why we feel we are young and our same parents we are treating in different forms? So, Brother Bola, that is my contribution this morning.
Well, we thank you for it. We appreciate that, and we thank you. You have a wonderful Friday afternoon and a good weekend. And I hope no noise ain't going to make in your head this weekend that you can rest in peace.
It's always happening.
I really hope that they would heed to your call. Right? Thank you again. Thank you.
Okay, brother.
You know, the last two callers are calling on authorities, to put more pressure. But they are not wrong. Laws are there and need to be obeyed and adhered to. But I also think that the laws are being placed there as a guide. Why do we as the citizenry have to subject ourselves to the police having to be on our shoulders all the time for us to obey? Personal responsibility and respect. There's another caller online. Good morning, caller. Thank you for calling.
Mr. Bola, me again.
Yes, dear.
Don't run me away, eh?
No, I won't.
I'm just joking. As the last two callers were saying, the one before the last and the last one was talking. But I will say something else different to them.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the bank. As soon as you reach in front of the door, they pull open the door and they're ready to sanitize you.
Mm-hmm.
They're like Bargain House and Postal and those places. By the time you reach, they does that, and I find that is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you go in the bus, sometimes some of them will give you the hand sanitizer, some of them don't. Like last time I went in one, and as soon as I sat down, I was asking the driver, where is the hand sanitizer? And he was saying, look at it. I said, well, sir, excuse me, with all due respect, if I could have seen it in the corner there, I would have taken it out.
Yes.
But what I'm saying, that is something that they ought to do.
Personal responsibility.
Right. And they are not, because if the driver does not do that, well, then probably the conductor can.
Mm-hmm. And when neither of them does, then it just doesn't happen, because a passenger coming in, they're concerned about going and sit. They ain't looking for no hand sanitizer.
Exactly.
And all those things.
You see? That's why I notice some people, because when you speak to them, they say, girl, I walk with my sanitizer,
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So when you come and you sit down, you do yours for yourself.
Right.
You don't bother with those on the bus. But I saying that, what's about those who may not have it?
Mm-hmm. You're correct.
And you see, nobody speak about that. All they're studying is what the government does and what the protocol they putting in place, and it's too harsh and all kind of things.
But mind
we want to do our own thing.
Mind you, these very busmen agreed. There were several meetings with the Ministry of Transport and with the PS and with other people agreeing on a number of things that they will do because they wanted to carry. They said, well, look, it's not beneficial, it's not profitable for us traveling with only a few people. We want to go back to full capacity. And they met and they discussed and they said, look, they talked to the help. They said, well, look, if it has to be done, if you have to carry your full capacity, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever the amount of things you will have to do. And they agreed. They agreed. But now, as the callers are saying, well, who cares? You know, if it happens, it happens. Personal responsibility. And as I said before, a caller said some weeks ago to me, when I asked him the question, why do you think our people are behaving like that? We don't want to argue. He said selfishness. We only look after ourselves. We don't care what happened to the neighbor. We don't care what happened to the other person. Like they couldn't care less. You can't see. You come on the bus. You don't know where the hand sanitizer is. We have to do better than that. We have to look out for ourselves and for each other.
Even the supermarket, as soon as you enter, you're getting your hand sanitizing, and to me, like,
because they obey the protocols. They're doing what they're asked to do.
Drivers are so.
I don't know.
Mr. Ebola, you have to take into consideration some of them. They like for parentage-wise.
Yes.
Some of them may not have basically the dad and the mom. Some
that
of them
could
may
be true
grow
too.
up and like obedient to doing certain things, like you go to school and they tell you how to say good morning, and you may not want to say it because you know you didn't have anybody to teach you. But what I'm saying, as you grow older, you pick up certain things
You should
and
learn.
you learn.
You should learn. Yes.
Yes, because this morning I was telling my big son, he was doing some ironing to go to work, and then I was telling him that he needs to spend a little more time with his daughter because, I mean, he's there for her mom died.
Okay.
And I was saying that I was thinking the way out for you all is to beat all you and all you don't listen to me when I speak to you all.
When they were smaller, yes.
Yes. So I tell myself that's what I learned when I was growing up, before I could stand up to talk to anybody and anybody see me, they tell my mother, well, when I reach up, you know, my cut backside, they waiting on me.
You talk blows in your clothes.
Right, and things like that. So I tell myself the same format that probably that's what I had to follow, whereas you didn't have somebody that could really sit with you and discuss little things. And at the time you're so afraid, you're afraid to ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
But now, as I'm getting older, like, I mean, come on, because my eye's sick. But that's giving me a different light in which to help the children now. But, I mean, most of them, the last one, he will be 19 years on November the 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So, I'm learning a lot, too, as I grow older. So, which means now, you suppose, if you sign to a protocol and you adhere to it since in the meeting, I don't find nobody have to come and tell you that.
Shouldn't be.
I don't feel the police have to come to you and say, well,
Shouldn't be.
they're giving you the ticket because such and such XYZ.
Shouldn't
you
be.
should learn.
Shouldn't be.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So, why you sign? If you know you would not have that here, or maybe that's just the easiest way just to get out, because you want the meeting to come to a close, so you say, yes, we'll do it, or we'll sign to it, but we're not obeying. It's time for you to learn something of the sort. That's why sometimes when you have meetings, some people not going, but they have most of the advice you could say to give to people to say
Yes,
on the radio and all sorts of things.
Yeah, there are some experts. We always have these experts who...
We have more experts more than those experts.
Right. They never went to a university. They never learned anything. They have no experience, but they advise everybody. They know all that is right and all that is wrong. Yeah, but they're not doing anything.
You came back on board and they were saying, well, look, they contribute to the government in helping the people and stuff like that. Things like, if you hear that and you hear they're doing that, come on, you could do that too.
Of course.
You see, you may not have all the big set of money to offer because all you're looking for to offer things like that, but at the same time, you're supposed to know is what you could do and where you could reach, because if you follow protocol like the hand sanitizing, you wear your mask. Some of them in the bus don't wear no mask, but I say, you see me? I am the older one. I could pass out in the split second because of the diabetes and the high blood pressure and things like that.
Yes.
So I obey. As soon as I reach home, I wash my hand and things like that and help myself. Even me, when I go to help my son weed in the garden, I make sure I put on a long sleeve shirt. I didn't say the garden has COVID.
But you take no chances.
Mask.
You take no chances.
I have my shades and I tie my head. And my long pants.
No chances.
You understand? I ain't taking
because
no
the experts have said that the virus can spread to the air. It can,
and things like that.
And things like that. So
yeah,
we take no chances. We follow the protocol, my dear. Yep. So
if we're not listening, what role will we have for the younger ones coming up? And that is what is my main concern.
Yeah.
The younger children coming up, certain things we want to say on the radio, without saying, well, oh my gosh, the child is listening.
Yeah.
And what will become of them tomorrow? We have a tomorrow, but you see, thank God we have our unseen being.
He's in charge,
Right
and he has the final say.
Yes, he that has the final say.
Yeah.
You know, Mr. Bola, you take care again.
You have a good one again. Thank you.
Enjoy
Thank you very much.
Yes,
Yes.
you're welcome.
As we continue to push personal responsibilities in all that we're saying, whether it is the noise pollution, whether it is the obedience to the COVID-19 protocols, we all have a personal responsibility. Now, we complain sometimes. We talk about governments being dictatorial, or that we want to make this country a police state. But we are acting as though without the police, we can't do anything right. So the same things we are complaining about, we are creating the environment for it. We don't like when the police have to charge us for not wearing a mask or charge us for not doing things and obeying the law. We are angry. We say the police are being brutal to us, that the government is dictatorial. But we are creating the environment by not doing what we're supposed to do and taking the personal responsibilities. We have another caller coming in. Good morning, caller. Thank you for calling Hard Talk.
Good morning, Mr. Bola.
Good morning, sir.
How are you doing?
I'm very well for the moment.
I just want to send a belated birthday greetings to the PM. Hope you had a great day yesterday and many more to come.
Yes.
Right? My thing this morning. Yeah.
Yeah.
I listened to our program this morning, and for the whole week I've been listening to certain programs, and the utterances I've been hearing over the past couple of weeks concerning the doc and his wife and what wasn't done and what's supposed to be done. My view on this thing, I think some of us as people, we need to sanitize our minds right now.
So not our hands anymore?
We need to sanitize our minds.
I'm just asking if we don't need to sanitize our hands anymore.
Well, we have to do that, but we have to sanitize our minds first, because what I believe is going on, that people is not really seeing the dangers in these things. This thing is actually killing people. It is killing millions. And why can't we just at least follow one simple rule? One simple rule. This is not a new world order. This is not no thing that is a conspiracy. It is something that's happening. So just at least follow the rules and stop trying to blame government, stop trying to blame Minister of Health. Just do what we have to do and the thing will be okay. What is the big deal? Just do that. And to the people that's complaining about mask and who do it with the mask, fair enough. I will wear mine.
Yeah.
But when you get charged for not wearing your mask, don't go and say, well, the police charge and the government this and the government that. Because other countries, my boy, some countries like the Philippines, trust me, we don't want to know what the penalty are for not wearing a mask. Yeah. And you know these countries don't play.
Yeah.
So come on, people, just do what we have to do and just be safe, please.
Certainly.
Okay?
Thank
you, boss.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Which is all we've been saying, What is our responsibility? Who is responsible for your life? Who is responsible for your health? The government has certain responsibility. The police have a duty. But you have the first and foremost responsibility for your protection. And that brings me to the second point I wanted to make for the morning. And thanks for all of the calls that are coming in, but it's a little hard to push in your point. I heard in the press conference the CMO saying that now they have to do the contract tracing because this doctor and his wife book the quarantine, whether it was home quarantine they was on and what have you. And I visited 4 establishments, 4 restaurants, so where public people engage. Now, upon the reopening, and I was trying to rehash that, there were certain things that was put in place. And one of it is that, especially for places like restaurants and bars and so, is that you sanitize people when they're coming. You take the names, the number, the contacts rather than saying a number, and an address. Should something happen, as the case was with 31 and 32, we can easily, on the particular day at the particular time, from your recording, see who was in here, where they live, how to contact them, and the contact tracing becomes a lot easier. And the CMO said 3 of the 4 establishments had a well accounted, documented thing for them. So they easily could have traced towards it. But there was one that had absolutely no records. There are two things I cite here. One, again, the lack of personal responsibility. What responsibility had the owner of or the proprietor of that property taken? No responsibility. Even though they gave a commitment that these are the things that we will do to ensure that we safeguard lives and we protect livelihood, they fail to act on it. But secondly, I also believe that the ministry itself has failed us. While we have the personal responsibility, and I don't know why we always want to have a big stick over our head or our shoulders to act, there should be in place, if there isn't from the ministry's standpoint, these people who would periodically check, and these they may seem insignificant, but we are now seeing the importance. When someone else decides to behave foolish and break protocol and do something out of the way and break the rules, then we have to kick in to find out who they was in contact with, who they touched, who they sat with, who was in their presence, so that we can do the rounding up and the testing. When you do not follow through on what you promise, it creates problems. And then they start a blame game. Oh, the ministry should have done this. And shouldn't the proprietor do what they're supposed to do? Now, if a decision is taken now to say, well, all right, since you are not obeying and you did not adhere to the protocols, we're going to close you down. You hear the hue and the cry. And who suffers? Maybe the proprietor, maybe the owner has the ability to live for another year without making a day work. Maybe they have saved sufficient and they've put enough in their coffers so that they can leave. Maybe they can climb a plane tomorrow morning and travel out of Grenada to some other place. I don't know. I don't even know who that person was. I don't even, because they did not give a name. I'm just talking general as the CMO was speaking. But the ordinary man or woman who probably works in that establishment as a cook, as a waitress, as a bartender, they are the ones who suffer. They are the lower end of the strata, because the establishment get closed down, they are out of a job. They become unemployed. They have to rely on assistance either from government or elsewhere. What about the farmer who has been supplying that establishment with vegetables for the restaurant? They are now out of a customer. So the rippling effect is great. So more and more as I think about it, when that caller said to me, it is due to selfishness. We think only about self and no one else. So when we do not obey, we don't consider how many people along the chain that can get hurt. How many children may not be able to go to school if the ministry decide that you must lock down your establishment now because you did not follow the protocol, you're not keeping the records, you're not testing people's temperature, you're not hand sanitizing, so you can't open, you can't. 4 or 5 people lose their job. Their children don't have the ability to eat again. They can't go to school. What is the rippling effect down the road? That mother has to go and prostitute now because she lost her job. But who does she blame? Not the owner for not taking on the personal responsibility as they had promised to. But then you start to blame the government. Oh, but just that the man do, they close down the man. So we have to sometimes understand that the things we complain about, the things we say we hate, the wrong things we say that are being done to us, the disrespect we say that is meted out to us, comes as a result of our inaction. Comes as a result of lack of discipline. These things come on due to the lack of respect for law and for authority. The police stop you and charge you because you're not wearing a seatbelt. They said this is part of what you have to do. Just do it. Then they won't charge you. Yeah? You get charged for not wearing a mask in public place. Just wear your mask, you won't be charged. Buses overload, they charge you for extra passengers. Just carry the amount you have to, the police won't charge you. So if we just discipline ourselves, understand what we have to do it, comply with the law, then we have less problems. Maybe sometimes the police have to do a little more. But I mean, do we need the police for everything to happen? You want the police to go around every house where people are home quarantine. You want the police to be where you have government-approved facility for quarantine. You want the police to be on the bus terminus to ensure that the busmen and the passengers wear their masks. You want the police to be along the road so that the bus don't carry extra passengers. You want the police to come when someone steals something from your garden. You want the police to be there when your husband beating you. You want the police when boyfriend and girlfriend fighting. You want the police when the neighbor quarreling with you. The police. And then you still say you don't want a police state. You still say the police have too much power. You say the police have too much privilege. But everything you want the police to be in because you're not taking personal responsibility. Not for you, not for your family, not for your neighbors, not for your community. You don't get involved in nothing. You don't want to do or say anything positive. And then we have some other people now, when the police take action, and I'm not here saying that everything the police do I support and that they are correct. Sometimes they overstep the bounds and the authority a little bit. But it is because we call on them to do everything. Every little thing that has to be done within the police has to be there for us to do it. But we are worse than dogs if we think that way. If that's the mentality that we have within us. We are saying that unless the master gives the command, we don't act right. And we can't see ourselves like that as a people. We have a lot of very academically brilliant individuals in this country. I want to call now, as I've said before, on the ministry, a reminder that I think the issue of home quarantine should be off the books. I want to also say to those in authority in the police, say, be a little more vigilant. I'm not advocating that you just charge people helter-skelter because they anger you with what they're saying. Keep your eyes open. Sometimes use discretion. Talk to people. Remind them. Sometimes people need a little massaging. Not so much pampering, but just a little massaging. As one of the callers said, it could be from their background. It could be how they grew up. Could be that they're not used to obeying law and order and they're not that disciplined. And that appears to be another call, and maybe on the overseas line. Good morning, caller. Hello, is there anyone there? Hello, good morning. Do we have a call?
Good morning.
Yes.
Yes.
You're live on. Thank you for calling.
I'm listening to that conversation, and the COVID situation. I don't want to sound like a skeptic. I believe in security. I believe in protocols to have safe. But I believe it's a fear that is driven. Yes, it's real. It's killing people. But I think it's a fear of death upon the people with a global impact. And what I see, not sounding skeptic, but in my spirit, I just believe in it's a roundup, a situation that is trying to get people in line for the Antichrist. There is an element of control to it, yes, and we got to bear with the people that resisting because of the freedom that we were born to have, that God gave us, the liberty to move about the earth without control. But now that impact is coming with that sickness, so I believe it's like you have a herd of cattle in one area and you want to get it to relocate to the next area, how the cowboys line them up and get them on the truck to get them out. I believe in the atmosphere. That is what's happening to us globally, piece by piece. But I understand the need for security to conserve life. But I believe in my spirit that is part of what is taking place now. Bit by bit is happening down the road, getting ready for the Antichrist coming in.
Well, brother, that's your views. While I may not necessarily agree with all that you say, I respect them. It's your view.
I understand that.
Yes, and I will allow you an opportunity to say it. But I also just want to add quickly, while that may be the views, we also have to remind people that they have personal responsibility for their life, their safety, and everything else. And that's the point I want to bring across. More than what the police do, more than what government do, more than what the Ministry of Health do, we as individuals have a responsibility for the preservation and control of our lives.
Yes, that's true. That's part of it that we have to, because that's one of the reasons God put us in the earth, to take care of the earth, and we got to take care of ourselves also.
Definitely.
But the big picture is that I've seen the coming of the end, this global business that is going on.
Okay.
So, hello to Grenada, hello to Brother Devin and Brother Romain, and Sheldon and Sister Duncan, and you, Mr. Bola.
Thank you.
Be safe. Take it easy.
Thank you so much for calling. Have a good day and a blessed weekend.
Oh, you too.
All right. And only earlier on this morning, in a little one-on-one, my technical operator and myself was talking about there are so many different versions, and we have the people who believe that they have the ability and they can prophesy and they can see things. And here we have a gentleman thinking that it's probably coming to the end of the world. I mean, that's his view of it. We have to respect that. I mean, there may be a lot of other people who believe similarly. Be that as it may, whatever your thought process may be, just always keep in your mind that I have a personal responsibility for my life and what happens to me, for where it goes from where it is, whether it gets better or it gets worse. We have that personal responsibility. We do have another caller online, and we are heading down close to the end. Good morning, caller. Thank you for calling.
Yes, good morning, Brother Bola. It's so good to hear you all the time.
Good morning to you.
It's been a while since I called this program.
Yes, it has
been. Yes, what the gentleman just said, I agree with some of these things, because the system, have to be things have to be put in place to kick in the consummation period of the last days.
Mm-hmm.
But listen to me, Brother Bola, and I agree with everything that you said so far, and the callers that have contributed this morning. You know what, Brother Bola? My biggest problem and issue is the hardness of man's heart. Man's heart and head is very hard. And the thing about us is that we like blaming others for our downfalls, and for our negligence.
Yes.
Take, for example, when Adam and Eve, and I know you know the Bible.
A little bit of it, not much as you, Pastor.
Well, you good, man. I heard you. You're good. Listen to me. When Adam and Eve, when they sinned in the garden, okay, the Bible says in Genesis, what did Adam say? The woman.
Yes.
And what the woman said, the man that he gave,
Yes.
And they start shifting the blame to everybody else. And I believe this thing is so simple. But if people do not have the knowledge or the understanding, as you said, we are very intelligent, we are intellectually driven, and we are very good in terms of reasoning. Yes. But what's so difficult about this time and that situation? What is so difficult? Of just weighing your mass. I've attended many funerals. I do funerals, weddings, and all of that.
Yes.
And the biggest problem that I usually have is when I have to stand at the pulpit and warn people, or go through the book and say, listen, we're supposed to have 75, I'm seeing 110.
Yeah.
Where are the names of the others?
Yeah.
So therefore you need to ease, you need to go out. Those of you who didn't sign, go out, and you see they standing and making comments. The problem is that we are people that do not like to do what we are supposed to do, even if it would cost us our lives if we didn't do what we're supposed to do. And that's our situation now. And because if that restaurant, for example, had carried out the protocol and do what it's supposed to do, I believe that the contact tracing would be so
much
easy
easier
to handle, and that we would have been out of the woods. But right now, we don't know who.
We don't know.
And I gave a guy a ride at a time. recently, and I had to drop him because I see me with my mask. I asked him, where's your mask, sir? I don't have a mask. You believe in this thing too? He asking me. I said, well, listen, I believe in it. He said, I don't believe in that. I said, well, listen, if you don't believe in that, you have to excuse yourself. Get out of my vehicle.
Yes.
You know? Yeah. I've got to drop you because I am a person that believes that there is something that's killing people, regardless what theory that you have surrounding it. Mm-hmm. I believe that it's killing people. So have a good day. Go get a mask.
Yes.
You know, and I think that's the way we have to go. People need to be serious about this thing. This thing is killing people, millions of people
around the world. And we're seeing it and we're hearing the news every day.
Every day. Blaming it on Prime Minister, blaming it on Mr. Steele, blaming it on the Senator.
Yeah. Blaming it on somebody else. You know, Pastor, it's a good thing that you brought in the story about Adam and Eve and, you know, the blaming game and so. But, you know, throughout life, and the Bible speaks about it too, that we have always been that way as a people, very defiant. There's a passage of scripture that, and I don't remember it exactly to quote it, but it talks about when the Lord is speaking, harden not your heart.
Right, somewhere around the Gospels and even Ephesians.
Yes, right?
Yes.
The point I want to make here is that if we go back into history, every time there have been the destruction of the human race, or partially so, it is because people have not adhered to and just obeyed.
Yes,
look at the story of Lot and his wife.
Yes.
Look at the story of
the children of Israel.
The children of Israel.
Yeah, they had no king at the time, and they wanted a king. They wanted to be like the other nations.
You understand?
You know?
Look at in Exodus when you speak about, and you're speaking about the same children of Israel when they were enslaved in Egypt and they were being moved back to the promised land. Yes?
Right.
And when God called Moses up to get the commandments, he just went up on the mountain. By the time he was back, they made idols, and you know, we for every time it is because as a people we fail to obey. We believe we know best. You know, we see authority as something that is there to destroy us rather than to help us to get to a better place.
But you know, Brother Bola, normally I ask myself the question: what is the culture? Is that really our culture? You know.
I don't know if it is a culture, or if it's something that we have just inherited that has been handed down. It's something that is hard to change.
Well,
there's so many good people.
We just inherit. That's all. That's how we make that a part of our lifestyle. We just inherit.
But we can change, believe it or not, we can, and it takes people like you, people like me, others to do. Like I oftentimes say to people, let's just try to brighten the little corner where we are, one by one, block by block, step by step, and hopefully, with the guidance of the Father and His blessings, we'll make it a better place.
Yes, Brother Bola. All right.
Well, thank you so much.
I would call you because we are having a concert at our music school, the Western Music Academy.
Yes.
We're having a concert, and so I want to come in and ask you with the permission if I can come in and just have a talk with you all.
Absolutely no problem. You just let us know when you want to do that. We'll open up our facilities to you to get a chance to speak about it. Okay. You know, we can do an interview. You can just call, whichever way you want to do it.
Yes, sir. Okay,
you do. We give that to you.
All right.
And
so
thank you.
The rest of it be brightened, brother.
Yes, you have a blessed Friday afternoon along with the family and a wonderful weekend.
And just tell Brother Nazim to call me, please, after he finishes. Thanks.
All right. He's not here with me. I have another operator, but I'll try to get that message to him.
Oh, okay. Wonderful. Thanks,
Good.
brother.
Take care now. Take care. And that, my friends, was our last caller. We are winding down. The time is getting close. We do know that we have the national report that we have to bring at 11:45, and we are just nearing that time, my friends. It was a really wonderful journey today with you. A little bit kind of touchy, the subject matter, because I am starting to worry a bit about our people. We have been doing good so far. A lot of people. I mean, when we speak about the ills that are happening and the disobedience, it is not every Grenadian. I mean, I am heartened by so many people who try to obey. You see them all the time. They are wearing their mask. You know, they're trying to keep their distance. They are reminding others. We just need more of us us to do it. In fact, all of us should be doing it. Yes, and so if we all do what is expected of us, what we are supposed to do, we can have such a better place. We can deal with COVID. We can be the country in the world that others may want to follow after. Yes, we do have some things that people want to adopt already, but let's continue to preserve life. Let's continue to save each other. Let's continue to save ourselves. And I want to wish everyone and thank them, those who have participated, those who have called. We have had quite a lot of calls today, or you had sent a comment. We thank you for that. Be part of the conversation. We are grateful for your participation. We are happy that you are listening to what we're saying. We hope that whatever we've said today, whatever we have discussed today, may have touched someone's life or many other lives in a very positive way, may cause somebody to think twice. Those who have not been following the protocol and doing what they're doing may now decide that maybe it's best that I do it until we can get this thing over and done with. Have a very blessed and wonderful Friday evening. It's the weekend. You may be thinking about, hanging out a little, drinking a little, partying. Don't overdo anything. Too much of any good thing is good for nothing. Remember to follow the protocols. Keep your distance. Wear your mask. If you're going into crowd, once you're out in the public, try to be safe. Avoid confrontation. Avoid confusion. Spend a little more time with your family, probably. Sing and pray. Thank God for life. And remember, on this program, we always want to be talking to you and not about you. So stay safe, follow the protocols, have a good weekend, and God's willing, we shall join each other again on Monday for another conversation. Stay tuned for the National Report.
And remember, James, what my soul has been forged by my father's
GTA confirms cancellation of first call by Sea Dream Yacht Club. We'll have the details to this story and more in the National Report. GTA confirms cancellation of first call by Sea Dream Yacht Club. We'll have the details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Thursday, November 12th, 2020, I'm Delroy Louzan. The Grenada Tourism Authority says Sea Dream Yacht Club has confirmed that its first call to Grenada is cancelled. This decision was taken after reports that a passenger tested positive for COVID-19 on board the vessel on their third COVID-19 PCR test prior to arrival in Grenada. Sea Dream 1 has now returned to home port in Bridgetown, Barbados, and will advise local authorities when calls will commence. Weekly calls from the small luxury cruise ship Sea Dream 1 were approved by the government of Grenada starting from Friday, November 13th, 2020. Ship passengers are required to have 3 negative COVID-19 PCR test results before arriving in Grenada. Nautical Development Manager at the GTA, Nicoyan Roberts, said, and I quote, "We put strict measures in place, including rigorous testing, before passengers get to Grenada. This system has proven reliable in that this case was caught in ample time before reaching Grenada," unquote. Meantime, teams from the Royal Grenada Police Force, Customs, Immigration, Grenada Ports Authority, Ministries of Health and Tourism, GTA, Real, and private sector businesses completed a final readiness walkthrough at the Melville Street Cruise Terminal on Thursday morning. The teams ensured that all requirements were in place to receive future cruise calls, including hand sanitizers, plexiglass shield installations, and floor markers, among others. Work is presently ongoing in the Upper Capital St. Andrew area on 1,100 feet of road that includes the construction of 300 feet of slipper drain and 800 feet of box drain. Contractor on the site, Delbert Braveboy, says the project should be completed in 5 weeks, weather permitting.
This scope of work, it's 1,100 feet of work, 300 feet of slipper drain, and 800 feet of box drain. Right? This project going to expand the road, so we'll have the road will be wider than it is now, right? And at the same time, the drainage would protect the road, and I can see the terrain, so the water will be better controlled, and we'll have less erosion on our roadways.
Mr. Braveboy says once completed, the roadway will be safer for motorists and pedestrians.
So we started up at the hill by the church. We have what we call the Bush Grove Hill, and that going into the Upper Capital area, right? And that will be going right down to the corner we refer to as Georgie Corner, right? And here and over the box drain, we'll be having some curb walls which will protect vehicles from going into the box drain. So there's a number of things happening here. Expansion of road, protection for the vehicles.
The project has created employment for more than 10 men and 1 female.
Well, we have over 10 persons on this project. And this project is going to go on for about the next 5 weeks for completion. Weather is a factor. We are in the rainy season now, and we are on a hill, and the Bojgo area is an area in that kind of terrain you get a lot of rain. So everything, normal. I hope that we can finish between 4 to 5 weeks.
The project is being undertaken at a cost of over $100,000. This is the National Report. Stay with us, we'll have more news in just a moment.
It's that time again when you can nominate a person or business making significant contributions to the tourism industry in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique as part of the People's Tourism Choice Awards, Pure Safe Travels Edition. Nominations can be submitted via Grenada Tourism Authority at gmail.com, stating the name and address of the nominee, the category, and a supporting paragraph as to why they should be recognized. Categories include creativity and innovation, new tourism business, virtual leaders, new tours, training, resilience, transportation, service excellence, special awards, and memorabilia or merchandising. Nominations for these categories end on Wednesday, 18th November at midnight. The winners and award ceremony will be announced at the end of Tourism Awareness Month. Visit www.puregrenada.com/blog for more information. The People's Tourism Choice Awards, Pure Safe Travels Edition.
Welcome back. The Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, CDEMA, launched its Information and Data Hub for member countries on Thursday. The Caribbean Risk Information System is a multifaceted virtual platform that hosts risk management data and information that will be accessible to stakeholders and member countries. The online database will facilitate analysis, research, and build awareness of risk management in the region. CDEMA's Acting Executive Director Elizabeth Riley says the information system is in keeping with the Comprehensive Disaster Management's 2014 to 2024 strategy. The CDM strategy builds on the strengths of well-founded and functional governance structures. It is designed to continue the process of embedding and institutionalizing CDM as the Caribbean's platform for achieving risk reduction.
The CRIS is an integrated platform designed to support fact-based decision-making, an agreed result of the Comprehensive Disaster Management or CDM strategy 2014 to 2024. And specifically, it speaks to Outcome 2, which treats enhanced knowledge management and learning for informed decision-making.
Lead disaster risk specialist for Latin America and the Caribbean, Joaquin Toro, is happy that the tool gives member countries the opportunity to share and contribute to information that other countries can use.
The technology that's available it brings the innovation on data management, and I think has a place in the Caribbean that didn't exist before, on which we can really share the information. But most important, more than shared information, is a place where we can contribute as members of the Caribbean, as members of international organizations. I think this is the place where we can contribute.
The online platform will also support monitoring and evaluation. Local advocate for social justice Laurice Pascal is urging citizens to do its part in protecting our nation's children. This comes in the wake of Child Month celebrations, which are held annually in October. Chrisanne Mitchell has more in this report.
Jacqueline Laurice Pascal, who is a strong advocate for social justice and coordinator for the Committee to End Child Sexual Abuse here in Grenada, is encouraging all Grenadians to take the necessary steps to combat child sexual abuse. Recent statistics from the Special Victims Unit of the Royal Grenada Police Force shows that from January to October 2020, the number of reported cases of sexual intercourse with children between ages 12 to 15 stands at 71. Ms. Pascal says this number is quite too high, and we must all play our part in reducing and ultimately zeroing that number.
And this is only this year, from January to October. That's that period. So we still have November stats to go, and also December. So it painted a picture that is not looking very promising for us as it looks towards the violation of the rights of these children. I'm glad that the law is very strong and supportive, because most of the time we used to say, and people used to get away with it, that honestly I don't believe that they're 14 or 15, but thank God that clause is out. You cannot now say the honest belief clause is out, so you won't get prosecuted.
Ms. Pascal, who is also the current interim manager of the Program for Continuing Education for Adolescent Mothers, held a march on the compound of the facility on Thursday with the young mothers, children and teachers in keeping with Child Month celebrations 2020. One of the students, Coshelle Blake, spoke to our news team following the march.
We as the young women, we ask you to protect and guide our children as we bring them to the future, so that we can stand out and support them in everything they do.
Nadine Joseph, who is a teacher at the institution, noted that caring for the little ones is one of the most important principles taught to teen mothers.
When it comes to caring for their children, we try our best to instill in the girls the need to be role models. Yes, they went through difficulties and they're in the situation right now. However, we try to impart on them the fact that your circumstances don't determine where you can reach in life.
Here in Grenada, the number of cases of indecent assault for 2020 stands at 52, while the number for incest is 51. It is, however, important to note that 54.4% of households in Grenada are headed by women. Ms. Pascal has a message for persons who facilitate the abuse of children.
Those who permit and allow our young children or children, and their children, as far as the law is concerned, 18, they are adult, right? To allowing, aiding and abetting our children to have, I would say, illicit sexual intercourse with persons, it is an offense. Because we find that we are hearing that persons, in particular, person they live with, that they are allowing this kind of behavior. And so we want to sound the clarion call, please desist.
For the National Report, I am Chrisanne Mitchell.
That story has brought us to the end of the National Report for Thursday, 12th November 2020. Recapping the headline, GTA confirms cancellation of first call by Sea Dream Yacht Club. That's all from us here at the GIS Newsroom. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Delroy Louzan. thanking you for joining us.
Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new National Party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.